So the way this course is designed to work is layer by layer. We start with small little steps, just with self-observing, which might not even seem like that much in the beginning, but it builds layer by layer over time. So by the end, you'll have made massive shifts in the way you think, in the way you operate, and the way you kind of understand how what you're doing, thinking, saying is actually impacting you, what's possible for you, and how you kind of experience life around you. So we like to think that we're so intellectual, so evolved, and we are, but that is all on top of, in addition to, this other part of your brain, this other part of your mind that's more primal, that's wired to keep you alive, to keep you safe, to find connection and avoid rejection, to move you towards pleasure and away from pain. And we traditionally think that our power and our intellect is to just kind of will ourselves into doing things, but that's not really how it works. And like I've said before, and if you've ever done like a big thing, I'm going to go all in on this, and then burnt out, you know that willpower is finite. And when you're working against this deeper part of your mind, if you're having these cravings for something and you're resisting, eventually that willpower you're using to resist will give out and you'll give into that craving. So our power in making changes in ourselves isn't in our using our intellect to overpower this deeper part of ourselves. It's in using our intellect and our intelligence to reprogram that deeper part of ourselves, to understand where those cravings are coming from, and to reprogram it so that that deeper part of your mind is working for you. And I'll give you an example. Our mind is wired to move us towards pleasure and away from pain. And what many people do is they'll attach pain to the thing they're doing instead of the pleasure of what they get from that. Another way to say this is there's two kinds of people. The kind of people who see the thing that they want, and the kind of people who see the thing in front of the thing that they want. And you started doing this course for a reason. You wanted to get something out of it. You knew that you had some work to do, something to learn, to make a change. So what you don't want to do is let it slip in and go, oh, I have to do this course every day. Oh, and now it's like cutting into my morning. That's the kind of thinking that's going to go, oh, I'm attaching pain to this course. And the mind goes, oh, we don't want pain. We're going to move you away from this. Oh, you're too busy. Oh, your boss scheduled a morning meeting. That's it. You don't have time for this course. It would have been nice to do something. No. You want to wire the pleasure of what you want. What do you want? Do you want to be free from depression, from negative thoughts? Do you want to understand why you go through ups and downs, and so you don't have to be on this roller coaster of life, so that you are running your own mind instead of letting your mind run you? Taking back your power. So think about that. One of the first thing that I want you to do is write down your why. Why are you doing this course? What do you want to get from it? What is your objective? And put that somewhere that you can see it every day. You can put it as a reminder in your phone. I'm going to talk more about this later. And focus on that. Wire that to doing the course. I'm doing this because I want to be free of this issue, I had a potential client recently, who's someone I do sort of know through social circles. And I was so happy that she reached out to me for like an intake, a discovery call, because I know how badly she needs my help and the work that I do. And she's like in terms of like how things are affecting her life negatively, she's a 10 out of 10. So very affected in her business life, her personal life, just like her relationship with herself, needs to do this kind of work so much. And we had this discovery call, and she was like, great, I'm so excited for this. And then didn't book. And then wrote me and said, oh, I don't have the money for it right now, but I'm going to do it in the future. And it was like, sure, no problem. I never push anyone. Sure, okay, no problem. But then the next thing you see, she's on this vacation with her partner. They went to some concert. I knew they took ferries, which that's the cost of working with me right there. And all this money. And I'm not saying that we can't have social things, but I know exactly what's happening in that potential client's mind is that she's wired oh, like doing the work and this is arduous and I have to spend money on this and this isn't something I really want to do, even though it would solve so many of these problems in her life. And she would just, I know I've had clients exactly like that are just on cloud nine afterwards, but is like, oh, a concert and this will be so fun, and doesn't even think about spending that money, right? So there's an example of letting that pain be wired to something that's actually really good for us, and pleasure be wired to something that's actually quite fleeting. Right? It's just like, we have pleasure wired to sitting there and scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok, watching TV shows that don't really help us. And then, maybe actually doing a course or going on YouTube and learning about something, I don't want to do that. It's like, wait a minute, I actually want financial freedom. I actually want to be a better version of myself. I actually want to learn relationship communication skills, whatever it is. So you can decide, you can link pleasure to the thing that you actually want and link pain. I'll give you another example. It's kind of embarrassing, but I used to binge on pizza. Every like Friday, I get to the end of the week and I'm like, oh, I just love some pizza. It's so cheesy and delicious and tasty. And I would start thinking about it. I'm like, no, you're trying to stick to this fitness program. And then I would go, and eventually I'd always give in and order pizza, and I'd eat an entire pizza, and then I would just feel gross. I'd feel bloated and heavy and tired. I'm sensitive to gluten, so it's the worst idea. And then I started thinking about this, and I know I could have done RTT and had myself hypnotized to not do this, but I wanted to sort of mess with doing it on my own. And so I would sit there in this awful full feeling after eating the pizza, and I would just visualize pizza. And before, I had the image of pizza in my mind connected to like deliciousness, cheesiness, yum, and so that's why I wanted it. And as I sat there and visualized the pizza, in my mind I wired that gross, heavy, disappointed feeling to pizza. And guess what? Within like 2 times of doing that, my cravings for pizza were gone like that. And so it's the same thing with this. So my point is that we can't change the fact that our mind is trying to move us towards pleasure and away from pain, but we can use our intellect and our intelligence to decide what we wire pain to and what we wire pleasure to. So for this potential client, for example, if I were to work with her, I would have her look at, when your life is in this terrible state of disarray, spending money on something that's very fleeting is actually totally mismanaging your resources, and you're setting yourself up for a future that you don't want. Whereas spending money on something that's truly going to help you and change your life is going to build a platform where you can do all kinds of fun things because all of this other stuff is sorted out. Same with you. Think about, going on Instagram or social media or watching TV, start wiring that to wasting time. If you have a today that you don't like, if you don't make any changes, you're going to get that same day over and over and over. So start wiring pain to things that you don't want to do and telling yourself the truth, and really wiring pleasure to the things that you do want to do, things that make you grow, things that educate you. This course, write out your why and wire the pleasure of that to doing this every day in your mind. It's going to be huge for setting you up for success. And one final thing that I want to talk about is that nothing is going to replace kind of deep therapy work, working on really, really deep stuff. Nothing is going to replace working with a professional. However, nothing is also going to replace learning these skills. They're not one or the other. They go hand in hand. With what I do, I see people, that I'll do an RTT session with, or, kind of that deeper subconscious work. And if they don't also have some kind of tools, strategy, education to go along with that, it can be easy to just go back into your old behavioral patterns, thought patterns, speech patterns, and re-sabotage yourself. So the value of this work is the part of what you can do. And it doesn't replace this over here, which is, you know, kind of doing that deeper subconscious work with a professional, but they go hand in hand. One without the other is kind of like, you know, so whether you're doing this work now and you want to do that in the future, it doesn't really matter, because you need to do this work regardless. I see it with clients all the time. The people that do this work, that learn these skills and implement them in their life, have massive changes. In doing this process, you might actually find, oh, I'm blocked here and I want to work with a professional on this thing. Or you might have already done all the work with a professional and now you just need to educate yourself with some of these more conscious tools, and then you're going to be good to go. So I just want to mention that this doesn't replace working with a professional. They kind of work together hand in hand, and it doesn't really matter the order that you do in it, because if you do this work, you might find that you have a block somewhere and you're like, oh, I need help with this. Or you might have done the deeper work before and you're like, yeah, but I still keep kind of like messing myself up in my everyday life. And that's where this education and habits are going to set you up for success, so that you can be your own source of success. My ultimate goal is to have you be completely self-sufficient, so you don't need me to hold your hand and guide you along the way. But anyways, commit to your why. You're going to be amazing. I'll see you in the next video.